What's up guys, Brad Chappell back with you. Top 3 setups for the month of November. Crappie are really suspending. Gives you a lot of different options on how to catch crappie in the month of November. Get out here, look for that water temperature to be anywhere from 60 to about 70 degrees. Just the prime temperature in my mind for crappie to feed heavily up. I'm gonna really concentrate on areas that have shad, but just not overwhelmed with shad, if that makes sense. I really like those outside areas that's holding bait fish, but just on the outskirts of them. And the fish, the crappie, tend to hang around that outside area. So we're gonna show you 3 different setups that you can go out there in the month of November and catch crappie. So stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, turn your notifications on. Let's get it.
In the flatland like a man.
All right, my first setup for the month of November is going to be using live scope, and it's going to be to cast to open water fish. A lot of times these fish are holding anywhere from about 8 foot deep on down to about 14 foot deep. Now, they're just sitting there hovering in place, so you got to get a bait quickly to them. Now, the rod of choice that I'm using is the B&M 75th series. I use this pole really year-round. It's just a workhorse for us casting a crappie for me. 6-pound K9 high-vis line tied up with 2. Now, here's the key. You got to get the baits down there quickly to them, or they just might float a little bit further ahead, so you'll miss them. So I'm using fairly heavy weights when it comes to this technique in November, this setup in November. I'm using 2 Crappie Pro jig heads. The first one up here is a 1/8. I like orange, everybody knows. On the bottom, I'm using a 1/16. Now, my bait of choice is the same bait I like to long line troll with. I want something that's going to get their attention. Now, I've noticed so far that these fish are sitting there. I can cast to them, but instead of dropping it and bringing it up and bringing away from them, I'm actually going to bring it to them and drop it below them and then rapidly bring it up. I don't know what it is, but it really triggers these fish. Using the strollers, Bobby Garland strollers, is just a fantastic way for me. The 2 top colors for me right now is going to be double silver rainbow. Bright sunny days, no clouds in the sky. You can't beat the double silver rainbow here for me. Another really good color, whether it's dark, bright days or anything else, is the meteor shower. Chartreuse tail, glitter body, blue body. It's just a great color that I've been utilizing so far this fall, that I think it's going to be really great in the month of November as well. Casting open water crappie. All right guys, my number 2 setup for the month of November is going to be spider rigging. Taking it back old school. You can still use live sonar with this. You don't need it as well. Now, the rods of choice for me is going to be the B&M Bucks Graphite jig pole. These are really designed for spider rigging, slow trolling minnows, and it's just a great way to go out and catch crappie in the month of November. These fish are wanting to suspend. They're up in the water column. They're gorging up for their fall. So they're gorging up on shad. Now, one of the easiest ways to get started spider rigging is check these out. These are the B&M slow trolling minnow kits. You can see they're already pre-tied. This is a 1/2 ounce, 1/4 ounce, 3/4 ounce, and also an ounce sizes. Now, depending on the speed you're wanting to go and how deep you're wanting to go is what size you're going to really go for. Now, today I've got tied on the 1/2 ounce. Now, this is really good for 8 foot to about 12 foot of water, going at about 0.6. That's going to keep your rod's tips bent down just enough to see those little light bites. Another thing that I really like to do is to add some color to my setup. Now, all these have just standard minnow hooks on them, but this is a Bobby Garland minnow minder. You can see it's made to fit on a minnow hook. This color is called silverfish, just a really great color that imitates a minnow itself. But also, you can add your minnow on there. Tip it with a minnow, tip some without a minnow, have it running just no minnows at all. But this is kind of how I clip them on the rod itself, is just right up underneath the reel seat up here. Stretch it up and clip it right on that eyelet right there. I'm using 10-pound K9 high-vis yellow line on the reel itself, and it gives enough power that I can just yank these fish right into the boat. Slow trolling, my speed of choice is going to be 0.4 all the way up to about 0.8. But look for areas that has your shad, see what height that the crappie are holding at, and bring these baits just directly right above them. They're going to come up. Sometimes you'll see that little tap and then pull down in your rod tips. Once you see the tap and pull down, set the hook, bring it on in. These BGJPs has enough power just to sling them on into the boat. But this is my number 2 setup for the month of November, is spider rigging, slow trolling, minnows with jigs and without jigs, using a minnow minder. Now guys, my number 3 setup for the month of November is going to go back to live sonar chasing open water crappie. I want a bait that can drop down to them, that they see really quick, and also offers a little scent. So I'm using the Hammerhead kit by Crappie Magnet. This kit itself has 2 different size jig heads in there, a 3/16 and a 1/8 ounce. Now these are designed to give you 30% more visibility on your live sonar, so it makes it really key to drop down to these depths that these fish are holding at. For me in the month of November, a lot of them is going to be between 8 and about 15 foot deep. But using the Hammerhead, it's going to allow you to see that jig 30% more. Up above it, I've just got an egg sinker pegged into place with 2 bobber stops. I'm using 12-pound fluorocarbon by K9 Fishing in a clear. That gives me plenty enough power to set the hook and snatch the slabs back in. Rod of choice is going to be the 18-foot Black Diamond by B&M Poles. Now you might say 18's just a really long pole for myself, but a lot of times you can sit back and you can almost hold it two-handed and just kind of move your body around as a fish moves instead of trying to reach out. So put it back with you, hold it 2 hands, and just swivel in your seat. But using an 18-foot pole just gets you further away from the boat to keep from spooking crappie. Will help you definitely catch more crappie in the month of November. Appreciate everybody's tuning in every week. Today's bite, it comes on at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time on YouTube, but also Facebook. So guys, if you got questions about crappie fishing, chime in and post them. We'll be glad to help you out with any kind of questions that you might have about the body of water that you're fishing. Also, come in and give us some fishing reports. We love to hear the different fishing reports and your success you're having from across the United States. Join us every Tuesday night. Today's bite. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Tell your buddies. Holla.